These are my journals from back when I was playing. These are not like my personal journal. I have one of those. Busy, but got to keep learning the lesson of the day. That's why you're my dude. So I look through these from time to time. You could tell this is what I did during meetings. You know what I mean? Like this is what I got up in the corner. But is this interesting? Like that's what I'm curious. Like if people would be interested in what I wrote, what I talked about, what I got to go from rookie to veteran. This is the beginning of rookie to veteran. That's what this is, and that's what I I don't know if people would find like my thoughts and stuff like that interesting because I was a journaler, man. I got books of these things, and as I look at them, and I ask myself, I say, hey, would people really want to get introduced to what it was like to be in an NFL training camp, in an NFL locker room? Yes. All right, Hawkman. Is that your book, John Freeman? Yeah, that's mine. So this is absolutely. Jed, I can't respond to messages on TikTok. I tried you on Instagram though. Oh, LeBron leg cramp. All right. Hit me back on Instagram. I want to connect with you. Yeah, we had a lot to talk about. Good message, man. This is it. All right. So here's and I'm just gonna give a little bit. I got again pages of this. So this one I thought was funny. So you see the head coach and the offensive coordinator and defense coordinator in a little huddle. They start talking, whispering, and you always wonder what their secret is. Sometimes when you're lucky, they show you. Today, the whisper was before our first team period of third down. So we're going out to third down period. You see the two coordinators, the head coach huddle up. Everybody starts wondering, like, what's going on there? Like, let's figure it out. So it's our first team period on third down, and I write, the team wasn't crisp. The huddle breaks could have been a little bit lackadaisical. There may have been a draft pass on the first play, and there was definitely an offsides. But the secret was, and this is me becoming a veteran, like me starting to see this interaction amongst the coaches and realizing all of this is planned. Like nothing is not scripted in the National Football League. And so our second play, Drew throws an incomplete. And sure enough, before we get to the next play, Sean Payton jumps in and says, hold up, Drew, hold on. This is not how we do things. This is not how we are going to do things. We're going to do it our way. Start the period over. And this was a message to our team. This is day 9 of training camp. We're out grinding and start the period over. That is a telltale sign. So it was interesting to me to see the coach's strategy. You look at what's being whispered, and I know now what they were talking about is we're going to set the tone. We're going to throw them a curveball, see how they react, see what the response is. And immediately, boom, they started, they made us go back. I thought that was, now looking back on it, it's like that happened every day in practice. Like there was something odd that was scripted that went kind of unnoticed. But again, becoming a veteran, I started to become more and more aware of that. Daniel Valencia, day is going good. I had to millennial realtor to save or not to save. I also thought this day was interesting. They had a media meeting. So this is going to show you, 10 years later, how much social media has changed and how much we're starting to tell athletes to use the platform. For us, their 3 lessons were never let your guard down. There is no media that is your friend. They are all your enemy. They are looking for you to have a bias to create conflict. Then it says, begin to use the opportunity, connect with the fans, but always be positive, share your story, and spotlight the community around you. Go Diablos! All right, millennial realtor. Give it to them. All right, little Diablos in the house. Love that. Gotta love that. And they said you got to make sure to avoid a YouTube moment. How funny is that? Like they used YouTube as the analogy. It's just social media audience. Like then I get what's weird, and I'm a strange cat. Down here, I get like into almost a poetry. What is the somebody asked me this the other day, what's your mindset before a snap, before a play? It is just, man, it's cool going back through that stuff. I don't know. Comrade Mazeka. All right. Yeah. Millennial investor. I like her. Realtor. Comrade, what's up, man? Long time, bro. Good for you. Good to see you. Welcome in. Welcome in. Today, we are going into our next phase of investing. We are looking at what it will be to take the topics we learned yesterday, which was follow the golden rule, return is risk, and looking at the emotional part. How do we translate those things? What are the elements that we are going to begin to utilize and have for ourselves? So I want to make sure I didn't miss anything. LeBron, yeah, LeBron's Lakers. We got to connect, bro. How's your day? Go Diablos. Conrad Mazeka, man. Yeah, that was my teammate from back in high school. That's awesome. So before we get started, question of the day, I just made a little post about it. I want to know what you guys, your opinions, your thoughts are. One of the first pushes, one of the first like statements, the new presidency, the new shift in our world is around student loans. And we all know it. I would assume a lot of you are struggling and battling with them. Recollecting those stories from your memory is different than from reading the words in the moment. That's the truth. I am very, very fortunate. And if you want something that will change your life, begin to journal. Journaling captures your emotions, captures your thoughts, lets you play back through scenarios, lets you understand what is happening, also lets you meet yourself at different times. As you look at it, journaling is one of the greatest skills I have, and it has allowed me to write. Therefore, it has allowed me to be able to communicate my thoughts, and that's why I can stand in front of rooms and deliver my message, is all through journaling. Journal. If you don't know what to write down, just sit down and start getting things out of your subconscious. They are there. They are bouncing around. And if you start to capture them, write what the weather is outside, write what you did, and then you're going to begin to see how it will be able to benefit you and pay off. I did a lot of journaling in falconry. Really? I'm watching. You got to explain that a little bit more, but you're documenting what you saw, who you saw, where you saw it. I think we'll have a better picture after Georgia Senate elections. That's interesting. Yeah. There's going to be some clarity that comes forward. But the question around student loans is this. Do you believe, welcome in Everett TTW. Here's a question for you. The bill, what they're trying to pass is saying 43 million Americans have student loans. What if we can give them all a break? What if we can help them in some way? Give them $10,000 of student loan forgiveness. You do the math. That's an exorbitant amount of money. But would it help enough to the point it would be worthwhile? Do you feel, and that's what I want to know, and it's going to be 50-50 because our country's 50-50 and people are 50-50. Yes, we should forgive it. Ursher coming in right out the bat. Recent, this is the question is, however many billions of dollars it is going to become a tax liability. The United States government holds the most of the student loan debt in America. And so if we forgive it, we're now forgiving an asset and an income stream of the United States government. I'm not saying right, wrong, or indifferent. I'm just saying there is always two sides to a coin. And so that's where I stand and I look at it and I'm like, dang. And then you start to get into some research. I was reading in the Wall Street Journal. You guys don't have to read the Wall Street Journal, but this was what I was reading. You see these charts. What these charts say, these charts are telling us, they say, hey, distribution of the student debt by income level, the vast majority is high income earners. Okay, that's fine. But then the second half of people say, well, why do I, want to help out high income earners? Why are we helping out the wealthy? What about all the people who did not go to college? Where is their $10,000? Um, I'm for this. It would help a lot of people. As Gen X millennials, we were told we must attend college. JJ15, I agree with you. This was, for many of us, it was not an option. It was the solution. It was the next destination on our journey. I think, and I'd be curious at your response to this, JJ15. Do you think that obligation will be the same in the future? Do you think if you are, let's say, 10 years old today, you're 10 years old right now in 2020, will you be expected to go to college in 8 years? I'd love to hear people's response to that. It's the government's fault, so they should fix it. But economics says forgiving that much debt is not great. Let's see. That's Parker Freeman. That is one. It is the government's fault. It's somebody's fault that let the escalation of college pricing just get absolutely out of control. And that is part of the other side of the argument is if you give all this $10,000, the problem still exists. That's what I don't, that's what I don't think people really realize is, yes, I want more than anything to have 40 million people to have a little bit of a breath. But next year, school tuition is still going to get paid, and it's just going to continue the issue. So that is an interesting one. Isn't the idea behind it that the top 1% taxes are raised to pay for it? Always, but let's be real. You can only squeeze from the same fruit so many times. Yeah, they have a lot of recommendations around capital gains, income, estate, taking from the wealthy, but we all know how rules and laws change, and it will inevitably be a liability on the population. We need to overload in the tax code regulations to really have the 1% pay for it. I agree with Parker. Right now, what is being offered, at least, would be a solution, but it would not be all 1%. The other interesting part in here is when you look at who holds the most student debt, not income, but by wealth, it is the lower wealthy people. That is an interesting piece. And they call out minorities, the Black community in particular, who has a lot of this student loan debt. So Wall Street Journal, I love it. You don't have to read it. I'll read it for you. And that's what I want to start doing more of, is just explaining the content and concepts out here. This is what we need to be talking about. JJ15 says, no, we realize we don't have to attend college to have a career path. Isn't that the truth of the moment? There are businesses, hundreds, thousands of businesses being created that have nothing to do with college degrees, college education. So I agree with that. I think there's being a new sense of career paths ahead of us. I'd be okay if we did not reward college or future college students with bad financial education. I'd be okay if we don't reward future college students with bad financial decisions. That's the truth. Is what is the decision, the opportunity cost at the moment? Manav, welcome in. I think we should forgive student loan debt because while working with Bernie, I heard lots of stories. It would help a lot of working class families. First off, very cool that you worked with Bernie. Like, regardless political, it's just neat to have that kind of insight and involvement in it. And so you believe, having insight in it, you believe it would ultimately help the working class. That is my question, is it going to help the working class? I know students. I know you are students. I was a student. I want to help students, but is it helping the working class, or is it helping, that's where I come into question. I don't know these answers. But I love that Manav is, I hope I'm saying your name right. I think we should give community college for free. Ursher, man. See, now we're getting there. Like, this is where, like, people like Manav, Ursher, JJ15, like, all of you are going to create the solution. I'm not. Whoever's in office now is not. They don't think of it. They don't look at it the way you have those fresh eyes. It's going to take an idea that has never been thought of before to create a solution that has never been thought of before. That is what's so cool. Community college for free. I mean, I know they do that in other countries. And I think it would be really interesting. Go get knowledge, go get education for education's sake, and get what you need to go and get a job and get a career. I don't know. JJ15 says, all right, we also realized no one cares. My BS in chem is from a liberal arts school versus state school versus community college. Nobody cares anymore. That's the absolute truth. It's crazy. And you already got millennial. You got my man Conrad saying, preach, because that's the truth. BS is BS. I never thought that, but that's the truth. Like, yeah, a general degree, even an accounting degree, a specific, it doesn't have the same water it did 20, 30 years ago. It definitely doesn't care to guarantee you a job, let alone a career. I think the government needs to step in and regulate the prices of colleges because they allowed them to rise. See who is that? CF Giants. So that is interesting. That has to become the priority to me. Like spending $40,000, $50,000, $60,000 a year on college. What job is going to pay off student loans of $200,000? Because you still got to live, you still got to have a car, you still got to have rent, you still got to eat, and now you have $200,000 plus interest. What career are you going to get? I mean, yes, for those of you out there who are going to go slang on Wall Street or, get a great job at Amazon and go get crushed money that way, cool. But that's very few. I agree. I think we need to reevaluate. And I think this pandemic has forced higher education to say, what is our value at here? Where are we in that you can't get this knowledge anywhere else? I taught an entire course, I'm going to go ahead and say a pretty good course, sitting right here, doing the same thing we're doing right now. So why are we so holding it and so much paying for it? I think they should cancel all student debt because of the burden it has on the working class people. And I like it, Manav. And if it is the working class, and if you can show me, hey, here are the 30 million people who are out trying to find this American dream and freedom, and this 10 grand is going to help them, I am all for it. I am all for it, especially minorities. This article in particular said the Black community has been hit the hardest by student loans. That is something I would have never expected or guessed. It's an interesting subset. So yes, if you're saying it in that regards, I am 100% in. I love that. But there is just always, all right, but now you and I have to accept that we might end up paying for it. Not just the 1%, they will carry their burden, but people working at home. My tax guy said it was a red flag to include expensing work at home, correct? So not correct. It is going to be interesting because this year, 2020, your CPA, I am not a CPA. Let me regulate that. But you have in the past been able to designate a part, like this area of my home is now my home office. You do get a tax deduction for having a home office by your square footage of your home. So that is a conversation to continue to iron out with him. Magic Photos Miami, Magical Photo. But this is an interesting year. I don't know if they're going to allow every human in America to claim a at-home deduction, even though technically we all are working from home. There is a lot of those little nuances that are going to be, we'll catch up later. Nice. Appreciate you, Conrad. This bubble to occur. Where else can an 18-year-old kid take out $200,000 loan for real? First off, the fact that we allow $200,000 loans. I mean, you at 18, at 21, they won't let you do that for your house, but they'll let you do that for a hopeful thing to come to fruition around your education. CF Giants, I like that. That's an interesting point. Biden's current proposal is that 100K debt cancellation. It needs to be canceled. It needs to all be canceled. Is that 100K debt cancellation? It all needs. So there's what? 1.4 trillion of student loan debt. That's a big asset to just forgive. And again, it is an asset. We learned about this, remember, back in the banking chapter when we started to see once credit was allowed, your reserves became your liability, your loans became your asset. Right now, the United States government is obviously running a deficit, is obviously deep in debt. But right now, one of their greatest income streams is student loan debt. It is hard, but removing it is going to put the country in an interesting place. And we're going to have to find that source. Public schools should be tuition free. That would be helpful. That public schools being tuition free, I that would be something. I know that universal mindset and idea is out there. It would be very interesting to be able to see that. And then who is paying the teachers and all those things. That's immediately where my head goes to. Read a couple responses above. I got cut off. Oh, CF Giants. This bubble to occur. I think the government because they allowed the bubble to occur. When else? Yes. So CJ Giants or CF Giants is saying that the government allowed the bubble by allowing these kinds of loans. Oddly similar to the mortgage crisis of a decade ago. I started a wildlife control business with a high school diploma. Just my story. Hawkman J. First off, explain to me wildlife control. Like you're out. Where are you? Hawkeye, Hawkman. I'm assuming. No, that's not Hawkeye. I was thinking Iowa, but would love to know where you are. And that's all. That's what it is, though, Hawkman, because you went out and you said, here's an issue I can help with. Here's something I can do. Create the business. And you didn't need business models and all of that stuff. You needed to develop them, but nothing that college was going to teach you, because very few people learn how to model out businesses in college. So that's a great story. I'd love to know where you're doing that and what wildlife. They expect us to intern for free to get experience after our bachelor's. JJ15, that is the truth. And it's shocking. It's like you're starving and they're like, well, if you could just run to the next town, you can get food there, but you got to run still. And you're like, no, I'm hungry. Feed me here. They're like, and I'm victim of this. I have some interns. People are working for me, helping me. And, I give them some opportunities. If they sell the course, if any of you go out and sell my course, I'll give you money too. That's the standing deal. But I think the free internship is such a unspoken division of our country and our world. Why? Because I, being privileged, could afford to have a free internship. If you cannot afford to go to work for free all summer, you have been eliminated from so many opportunities. It is a crazy, weird, and again, it's, can you see beyond your own nose? Nobody knows that conversation unless they've had that conversation. And we need to address those kinds of issues. JJ15, fire. I also think we should allow older people to get the same benefits we're talking about. Ursher, so you're saying, I would love to go back to school now, but no way I can afford it. So yeah, you're saying I'm in my 30s doing a career change. Can I get, some support to go back to school? Or even, some of these older, there are people in their 40s and 50s still with student loan debt. It's insane, but it's absolutely true. Magical, love it. Thank you. Chicago area, raccoons and attics, skunks, underprotected porches, repairs and exclusions, bats and attics, etc. That's real. I have a problem. I have an issue. I need to call somebody. That's a business. Carl Marquez, go Browns. Jim Brown signed that one, Carl. Real. The Jim Brown. HOF, Hall of Fame. So see, Hawkman, that is the lesson and the point of the moment is, could you have gone and got $80,000 of student loan debt? Sure. Probably started the same business. And that's what, some people are saying, you forgive these 10 grand, maybe they'll go start their own businesses. What about all the people who didn't go to college? They're being left out of this conversation. I don't know. When I was working for Bernie, I met a man who was paying student debt into his 60s. Oh, that breaks my heart. That's the stories that you're just like, what are we doing? All right. This was in Nevada, Manav. I love it. Great stories. So this is honestly like even after these December dollars, I want to keep doing this because these conversations, this is good. Um, I enjoy this. Willie Benz, perfect timing. Willie, you can win some money today. So our question of the day, this is not going to be the money question. We're going to ask the money question at the end. But the question of the day to lead into our subject is true or false. It is less risky to buy a single company than a group of companies. And there is a lot of financial literacy tests out there. Typically, it's 3 having to do with, do you understand the time value of money and how interest works? This concept right here, true or false, it is less risky to buy a single company than a group of companies, really alerts us to this idea of Michael Sullivan, BJ13. Do we know what this concept of diversification is? It has been called investing's free lunch. False, false, false. You should get a group of companies. I love it. Why is diversification considered investing's free lunch? Well, Parker Freeman knows this. We look at diversification and we say, it is going to give me something. It is going to give me less risk. Buying a single stock is more risky than buying a group of stocks. Why? Because you measure everything in investments based on what can one event do. If that is at a single company, can one executive making a mistake decrease the stock, decrease the value? Yes. If I have 5 companies, well, now I need 5 executives to make that bonehead mistake. If I have 500, my risk continues to get diversified away. But why is it a free lunch? That's just giving you something. So why it's considered a free lunch is because we have been proven, and actually I think it's in here. Hold on one second. We have been proving over time and time again that this idea of, yes it is, right here, cover of the Wall Street Journal. You can't see it. It says small hedge funds score gains. Small hedge funds score gains. But if you look up here, this front headline says, and I'll read it, hedge funds are trailing the United States stock market this year, but some of the smallest funds are emerging as the best performers, driving greater demand for these new managers. So what those 2 articles right there says is, number 1, the market, S&P 500, is outperforming all of the active managers out there. Not all of them. I'm sure there's a few who, could probably sneak in and beat some things. But for the vast majority, passive investments, once again, is outperforming active investment. Passive being I bought an index and I'm holding it through the year versus I'm trying to get all of these ups and downs. What is going on? Jason Miller, 87, looking pretty professional in that picture, bro. Like it. What you got? You got some money questions? So welcome in, Jason. So that is one of the lessons we want to take away from this. This idea of diversification is looking at, can I buy an index and still outperform? Yes, that is what it is doing. The people in New York, the people in Chicago, LA, wherever big hedge fundy, blah, 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 they are underperforming me, who hasn't made I haven't made a trade all year. They're underperforming me. And I've saved in fees, I've saved in trade fees, I've saved in advisor fees. Looking at it that way, then the article says smaller hedge funds, the number one hedge fund is in London. It has less than $500 million, which to you, me, $500 million. Mike Anderson, 175. What's good? What's good, Mike Anderson? Man, I went to school with Mike Anderson. It's not you, is it? Does that say Mike Anderson? He's Mike Anderson, 176. You 175. You special. Hey, Willa G. What's good? What's good? Michael Sullivan. So as we look at this, smaller hedge funds are outperforming larger hedge funds. Why? Because it's very hard to continue to be right. It's very hard to continue to predict. I went to Syracuse, Big Orange. Man, I bought a bunch when the market kind of crashed earlier this year, and now they're doing great. So, Ursher, you were fortunate. Let me take these off. You were fortunate. You guessed right. Respect. Thoughts on pump and dump. Jason Miller, we're about to get there right now. Ursher, I love it. I don't know how or why or what you did. So you saw the market dip, you bought. I am all for buying on dips. That to me is not predicting. That is taking value at its worth. I know where it was. I know some stuff has happened. It's dropped. I like to buy low. No problem with that. My problem with pump and dump, my problem with active is you got to be right 3 times. You got to be right when you buy it. So Ursher bought it low. But now to make money, you haven't made a dime yet. So they are up, they're doing good, but you haven't made any money because you don't make money until you sell. So now you got to guess again. So I guess when to buy it, I guess when to sell it, and then I got to guess to buy something else. That is what is so crazy in my mind about active investing. So why smaller hedge funds are doing better than larger? One, because they can pivot and they can adjust a little bit more. 500 million sounds like a lot, but in the investment world, it's really not. And they are able to change their policies. A lot of people who were the best fund manager last year, their same methodology, their technical analysis and all this stuff is not going to work next year. It didn't work this year with a pandemic. So that is why it is really, really hard to go into this. In this pandemic, I started my training, my 14-year-old to invest in this S&P 500. S.Life. Love it. I want to give, so 14 is right where I want to start talking, teaching people. 14 to 20 beyond. I would love to give you my money vehicle course. It would be excellent for him or her to begin to understand not only investing, but a lot of other concepts around money. That is super cool. And that conversation is going to pay dividends for life. I'm a stockbroker. Mike Anderson says from Wall Street, new to this whole TikTok thing. If you guys could support my page, that would be nice. Well, Mike, here's my advice to you. Show up, add value. That's and it's not an easy game, but it just keeps showing up, keep adding value. One of the coolest things is this community that has all of a sudden started this month. We started this in December 1st. We're trying to learn financial literacy all December, better ourselves. I know a guy who's diversified to take account for the climate crisis. He has stocks in solar, wind. So Manav, what you're saying is he has a diversified portfolio, straight. Then he has taken a little bit of it and in what it's called is hedging his bet. So we're diversified into the market. And what does that mean? That means we're in oil, we're in traditional, we're in the old form of energy. What he is looking at is hedging the future and saying solar, wind, all these things are coming. So I'm going to take a small percentage of my portfolio, and I'm going to bet on it. I'm cool with that. I love when young people say, hey, Jed, I bought a globally diversified index. Then I bought the S&P 500 because I love America. And then I went and bought 2 or 3 companies that I just think are going to crush it. That to me is the system here. You have your secure, you have your safe, and then you have your home runs. I want to single with my global. I want to double with my S&P. And I want home runs with whatever company, whatever thought you have. That is investing to me. You still get the same itch. You get the same fun. You get all of that. Investing, that what my high school diploma didn't teach me. Investing. Exactly. Hawkman J. That is, I mean, literally that's the book. That's what we needed. That's the one we've written. I love it. He told to invest in Beyond Meat. So that's an interesting one. I'm a meat. I like red meat. Let's not give myself. But how it just doesn't make sense going forward as the world continues to populate, as it begins to get harder and harder to support livestock. Beyond Meat, which I believe is like the meat, non-meat stuff. That's a good hedge. It's a good bet. It is a him. So you have a son, 14. I make $300K a year. That's pretty good. Yeah, I ain't mad at you. Jason, what's going on, my man? It's been a while. Give me a call after this. I don't know who Jason is. Cam Newton's back. Mike Anderson, do you work on Wall Street? Yes, he does. Cam Newton, MVP. Yes, I do, my man. Follow Cam Newton. Man, I want one of your books. Ursher is coming. You won. I know it's coming. We're sending them out in January. You get the old John Hancock on it. So you're going to get your money vehicle for whoever it was. He said it was my son, S. Life. The book, Your Money Vehicle, first 10 questions. Today's question, this concept of diversification, this concept of true or false. Is it better to buy a single company or a group of companies? That is why, and why it is investing's free lunch is it gives us diversification. It reduces our risk. But at the same time, as we just saw in the Wall Street Journal last week, maybe it was today, last week, in the Wall Street Journal, it says active continues to underperform passive. So it's so worth it, Ursher. LeBron's leg cramps. Look at that. See, it's so worth it. Like, that's everything to me. Honestly, that's where we're at. That's where we're trying to get. So the thing about diversification, and here's the concept, and then we're going to get the question, and then we're going to get somebody some money, the course, whatever you guys want. The thing about diversification, you got to understand, and this is what is really, really hard. I was in wealth management. It was really hard to sit across from somebody with $8 million, show them their portfolio, and they go like this. Oh, good. Win. Why is that one losing? Topher, welcome in. Michael Sullivan, name of the book is Your Money Vehicle. We got it. Where is it? Right there. Booyah. Your Money Vehicle. We also have a virtual course. It's pretty cool. So yeah, Your Money Vehicle, great introduction to how money works. But that wealth management client, this one's a winner, this one's a winner, this one's a winner. Why is this one losing? Well, that is diversification. That is what is really hard for people to understand is if you have a well-diversified portfolio, you are instinctively and intuitively losing money somewhere. You should be. It's not diversified if you're not losing something somewhere. Because what diversification says is to a single event, it's going to respond inversely. It's going to react differently. So why I would bet on solar and gas and oil, whatever your concept, they're different and they are going to react to the same event separately. That is diversification. So as you look at inflation, as you look at the world going virtual, as you look at all of these single events, companies and stocks inversely react to them. To be truly diversified, you got to have the up and the down. What it does is it mitigates some of the down. So we have a little down and a bigger up. So that is why diversification is investing's free lunch, is it gives you less risk and it also does not take away your long-term returns. As we saw, passive continues to outperform. So what we want the question of the day to be, true or false is too easy. And yesterday, if you remember, one of our do-re-mi's, Ray, return equals risk. Jed, you just said diversification doesn't take away my return, but it does lower the risk. That is its beauty. That is its power. So the question of the day, and it's going to be hard to answer this in a few words, but why is diversification a free lunch? Why is diversification a free lunch? How many calories did you eat a day while you were playing college football? I ate more in college than I did in the NFL. I'll tell you that. That's because I got bigger. John Kim was waiting for that one. John Kim has been going through the book and the course each day as we've been logging on here. He has also been answering pretty much all these questions correctly. I'd answered, but I let other win today. Thank you, Ursher. Your risk is spread across multiple firms. JJ15, love it. Love it. My man, John Kim, always JJ15s. JJ1515, why two 15s? Fix the lighting. Oh, is the lighting wrong? Sorry, Wayne. What about, did that do it? What about this? Asset protection and long-term growth. When one is affected, the others may not be affected. This is it. I'm telling y'all, if you can and have been following our journey, we have been covering topics. We're in investments. We're about to go to insurance. We're going to hit in cybersecurity. We're going to get to Roth accounts, 401ks, taxes, gross income, all of that. This is where we're going to be. Much better. Appreciate it, Wayne. Good call out. LeBron's eggs in one basket is a problem, folks. That man, he's in it. LeBron leg cramps, eggs in one basket. In the course, I give a story about taking my girls to the park, not bringing one snack, but I got to bring a whole backpack. That's diversified because they never want the one snack I bring. Here's an interesting question I got asked. My cousin took out some of his 401k to buy a muscle car. Cam Newton, MVP, can you please have your cousin call me, email me, follow me on TikTok? He just stole from his future for a muscle car. I'm not saying don't get the muscle car. I'm saying earn it. Save up for it. Build up for it. Plan for it. Cam, your cousin sounds like a mathematician. Thank you, Wayne. I think you can imply what he means by that. LeBron's never take the one snack to the park. I thought it was a great story. My girls actually make a cameo in the virtual course. That's why we had so much fun with it. Here's a weird question I was asked today, and would love somebody's response. Again, this is going to be a little bit more sports related, but would you rather play a 9 a.m. kickoff or 9 a.m. sporting event or a 7:30 p.m. sporting event? Would you rather play first thing in the morning or late at night? This is coming into conversation because the Pac-12 is getting absolutely destroyed, playing only 7:30. Like our premier game, 7:30 that Saturday. Nobody on the East Coast was watching a Pac-12 game at midnight. 7:30. Wake up, get the fire hot. LeBron, all right. No, LeBron. See, Ursher's morning. LeBron and Cam Newton said, let's wait all day. Many of my clients have made big bucks off of high-yield savings accounts. Mike Anderson, we talked about savings accounts the other day. And right now is an interesting time, but I love that. That's a great advice. How would you start investing if you are literally living paycheck to paycheck? Cole Mode. So we went through this the other day. We got to set up a cash management system. You do not start investing right out the gate. You have to set up your plan. So first off, do you have a strategy for that next paycheck? You will never get ahead of the game until you have built out a system. That is the truth. That is the reality here. So where in that system have you begun to make your choices? Do you have your emergency fund? Do you have your goals set? Do you have your accounts set up? Then you can begin to invest. So there is a lot of foundational. That's what, Money Vehicle, that's what we're here discussing and teaching and making impactful is this idea that we have to take care of more than just investing. Everybody wants to get to the sexy engine of the money vehicle, but we got to do other things. You got to learn how to steer. You got to learn how the gas and the pedals brakes. You got to put gas in it. You got to do all these other elements. And so that is important. Once you have those fundamentals set up, I would start putting, I made $1, I saved a dime, 10% of my paycheck either into an S&P 500 index or globally diversified index. And there are a lot of those out there. Literally, I can tell you, here are 5 S&P 500 index, one at Fidelity, one's at Vanguard, SPDR, Spider, iShares, Schwab, Betterment. They all have S&P 500 indexes. One that I would look at is the Fidelity Zero because it's zero fees. I think that's really cool. If you want a globally diversified, VT. I haven't found a better solution than VT, but maybe Mike Anderson could help us. I got to get the pregame jitters out. You got to I always hated waiting around all day. That's what I'm saying, Ursher. Like some people, 9 a.m. Wayne's in on 9. Wayne said, 9 a.m. basketball games are awesome. Don't want the game day gloom to be all day, right? I loved Manav coming in 9 a.m. Like back in 9 a.m. See, everybody's starting to get the 9 a.m. I respect the nighttime 7:30. I prefer mornings for active stuff for me personally, JJ. Like the coolest part about basketball tournaments on the weekends was, yeah, we got a game at 9. Like let's get up there and go. People are like prime time, NFL, Sunday night football, Monday night football, Thursday night football. It sounds so cool, and it is amazing. I ain't gonna lie. It's really, really cool to know like everybody you know is watching this game. But it sucks sitting around all day and like you don't want to move, but you have to move because if you sit around in a bed all day, your body is just whacked that night for the game. It's a weird kind of, and so what's weird is like I ended up for night games going on walks. Like I would go down to either the hotel treadmill or like go for a quick stroll because you got to get something moving. I compete in jiu-jitsu. The 9 a.m. match is much better than the 7 p.m. S. Dot jiu-jitsu. That is awesome. First off, you can whoop my butt. But that's I gotta go with you. Like 9 a.m. Like let's wake up and let's start going to work. My son's 6 months old. Giving him $100 a month. School's already paid for. Where? So school's already paid for. Obviously, I would have recommended a 529 account. Where would I do it if it was $100 a month? So I would do two things. I would, go S&P 500 for 25, or I would go $50 into secure, safe index fund. And then I would go $50 into a company that you and he will eventually be able to talk about, whether that's Amazon, whether that's Apple, Coca-Cola, I don't care. Choose a company and just start saying, hey, when you were 6 months old, when you were 1 year old, we drove by a gas station, don't do gas. We drove by some store, you perked up, so we started putting $50 a month into that company. It would be a cute story. And I would do it based on that. But definitely have the side where you have a secure index fund, more secure. Nothing is secure. Should I put money I give to him monthly, stock market, or what? Absolutely. If he is 6 months old and you truly are looking at these dollars for him to use in his 20s or 30s to buy a house or to just start his life, throw it in the stock market. The stock market loses risk over time. That is something we learned yesterday. So yes, start throwing it in the market. And I would do those kind of the 2 secure and then have fun. Maybe go 70 secure, 30 fun. You might need to find a better job. Oop. What school did you attend? I went to Washington State University. Look for an employee-owned company near you. Wayne, you might need to find a better job. Look for an employee-owned company near you. Is that for me or I don't know who that's for, Wayne? What school? Mike Anderson. I went to Washington State, but I became a certified financial planner. Have you been to the Muckleshoot Casino? My cousin lost 10K there. I've obviously been to the Muckleshoot Casino. I have also lost money there. If you only had 10 years to invest, what's the best way? Michael Sullivan. I don't have 10 years to invest. I am 34. I got 60 years. I mean, now I played football, so I probably only have a shorter, but I'm investing for my wife and my kids. So don't ever invest with a gun to your head. 10 years? That's not the game you play. If you want to stop living paycheck to paycheck, you put it all in on black. Damn it, Wayne. I like the Wednesday afternoon game. Such a different feel playing under the lights versus daylight. Truth. Like the intensity turns up real quick. And for some reason, a dome always feels that much more different. It feels like professional. Cam Newton MVP, have your cousin give me a call. I think I can give him some life-changing advice. Mike Anderson, I like the hustle, bro. Sitting around all day sucks. The adrenaline right out of me waiting to play. That's what I'm saying, Hawkman. Like, it's just like, I can't. We got to, and you're watching other games, which is fun. But, yeah, to try to then you got to get amped. And, it's hard. A few teammates and I would always go for a couple-mile walk if we played late. See, that's cool. You got to find the right guys because every person prepares differently, so you don't want to mess up their juju. But that would be cool to be able to do that as a group. That's a fraternity. Go Cougs, LeBron. Yeah, Coug, but I'll take it. We welcome you to the team. My son wants to go to college to be a coach and said he wants to be a college coach. What degree? Networking. You want to be a coach, you got to know everyone. Why? Because your job is not going to be coming from a degree. Your job's going to be coming from, I knew this guy when he was 3 schools ago, and he got me so network. Call coaches, be at camps, go to camps, but just walk around and introduce yourself to coaches. That is what I would do if he really wants to be a college coach. It is so much harder than people give it credit for. But it's if it's your passion, it's a great career. It was for the guy who said he was living paycheck to paycheck. Straight. I got you now, Wayne. Yeah, go find a better job. I would argue start to use money better. And, man, I'm older than you. Ursher, I'm, I got age is a thing. Jason Smith, should he get, or how would he become an athletic coordinator in a high school? So that's definitely a different game. High school athletic director, I would connect him. So I know some guys that they run it's a nonprofit. They call it Sports Biz Camps, Sports BIZ Camps, and they run them every year. A couple thousand young people in high school looking to get into the sporting world, not athletes, but the rest of the sporting world. I think that would be an excellent. They have expertise, 20 plus years in every industry, every aspect of the industry you could think of. Sports Biz Camps. That would be a great recommendation for him. I was a wide receiver, so our group and the quarterback would walk around and we would go over plays, scenarios. I like that. I also like that you brought the quarterback around. You always got to keep telling the QB, hey, man, I'm open. Hey, man, I'm open. Jason, love it. Keep asking questions. Appreciate you. Gym teachers have the job. Wayne, so Cam Newton, welcome back. Gym teachers, I don't know if it's the job, but they have a job, and to each their own.